Hey YouTube, I'm going to be talking for a small period of time about some things that I've discovered while starting PC gaming. First off, just a couple misconceptions that I wanted to address. You don't have to play PC gaming on a monitor. That's not a thing. The large boon about PC gaming is, as you'll hear from several different sources, options you gain. You don't have to look like this guy. As you can kind of see, you can PC game on a large flat screen TV. You don't have to sit at a desk, have headphones, be cramped up. As you can see, it's not necessarily a requirement. The second thing I want to address real quick, the price factor of PC gaming. A lot of the people will talk about, discounts, deals, how you can build a super computer, but it's super expensive. And I kind of just want to say it's this. If you're transitioning from console gaming to PC gaming for graphics, because you want to find the best visual experience you can possibly find, it's going to be more expensive. A lot of people will talk about how you can find deals online for games. Since the price of games is so much cheaper, you'll save money. But the thing is, you can also find cheaper deals for games on console games. You can also get games from your friends. That's very limited in PC gaming. In general, if you want a really, really high-end PC, you're going to need to spend quite a bit of money. If you want the top-notch experience, you'll have to pay a lot of money, but you do have the option not to. Now, you can definitely get better than PlayStation 4 performance for pretty much the same exact price as a PlayStation 4, which is where that option comes from. It can be cheaper, as I've said, if you aren't going for the best performance. It can be cheaper than console gaming. On the top end, it's more expensive than console gaming, at least at first. However, if you're switching to PC gaming to get the absolute best experience you possibly can, if you want all those textures, all those pretty things, that buttery smooth 60 frames a second, you're going to have to pay out a pretty penny. That's something that's important to you. You can set your own limits, but you're going to have to spend money. There's this thing called benchmark. It's basically just where you test your setup. So right now you're seeing some Rise of the Tomb Raider benchmark footage. I highly recommend the game, it's really great. I wanted to take this moment to explain what a benchmark is. You're running a test on your computer to see how well your parts actually perform. When you pay a lot of money to get these really high top-end parts, you're probably going to want to know where your money has went. I have an AMD 4-core processor and a NVIDIA GeForce GTX 980 Ti. It costs $650. Pretty much average 50 frame rate during the test. That's not bad at all. Better than PlayStation gaming. However, for a $650 graphics card alone, just that piece of my computer, I could have bought 2 PlayStation 4s. And all I'm seeing as an increase in performance is from 30 to 48, 49, 50 frames. What is essentially happening in my computer in particular, my CPU is bottlenecking my GPU. My processor is bottlenecking the graphics card. My CPU is slowing down how fast my graphics card normally works. But that only emphasizes my point. If you don't want to do this, then you have the option not to. But if you really, really want to push graphics to their absolute limit, if you really want to, you're going to need to spend a crap ton of money. Not just on the thing that pushes the graphics, but on other things that need to push the thing that pushes the graphics. In PC gaming, you have the option not to go for the best performance. But if you are going into PC gaming, you're not going to spend a lot of money, your option then is to go for a low-end computer and don't spend a lot of money. In any case, but PC gaming has a lot of different consistency problems, and it's not as easy as it seems. There's a lot of different things you have to take into consideration when you're actually putting the PC together. You're going to want to be a self-sustaining computer gamer. There's tons of times where people just don't want to ask their friends to help them with their PC. And I know that on this thing, it was really difficult to find the power button because of the way the case is shaped. Sometimes it makes you feel like you're being a burden if you're asking your best friend. And you also don't want to be a PC gamer that's always paying for stuff. There are people who are charge you $100 just to defrag your computer. And if you're someone who doesn't know what a defragment is, don't worry. PC gaming is actually not as complex as it seems. It is, however, a little bit computer engineering heavy. There are people who think that it's really simple, but it simply isn't, at least not from the outset. Things like SLI, benchmarking, bottlenecking, CPU cooling, liquid cooling, teraflops. What's the difference between an SSD, an HDD, and an SSHD? What is overclocking? How do you overclock? What is a base clock? What is a boost clock? And all the abbreviations for all those different things. And I can go on just things that happen on a regular basis that I have to figure out when it comes to PC gaming. But most of it's just vocabulary. It's not the most difficult thing in the world. You don't actually go into hardcore computer engineering, only basic stuff. You will never find yourself welding or playing around with circuitry. All you really need to know is what the piece is, what it's called, and where it goes in the computer. computer. There will never be a time where you're looking at a piece thinking it'll go into a place and trying to shove it in, because the pieces look almost completely different. The slots for RAM do not look like a place where you would put the end of a SATA cable. It does require a little bit of PC knowledge. It does require a little bit of computer engineering. It's not difficult, but it isn't the easiest thing in the world. Is that it? Pretty much all I want to film currently. I would like to thank you for your time. I think that's about it. Peace, peace.